I'm Bennett Weiner, President and CEO of the BBB Wise Giving Alliance. And most of you know our mission, which is to strengthen public confidence in charities by promoting wise giving and trustworthy charity practices. Our guests today are two experts on AI issues. And I'm pleased to introduce Dikshant Dave, who's founder and CEO of Zigment, an agentic AI platform for conversational automation. And they help organizations, including nonprofits, engage people in more human, meaningful ways at scale. Their AI is built to understand context and intent, so automation feels personal, not robotic. Also pleased to have BBB WGA's own Ezra Vasquez D'Amico, our Director of Digital Partnerships and Strategy. He has been instrumental in heading up our own AI efforts and other digital projects, and he's been doing an excellent job. So I should also add that earlier this year, we hosted a special conference in New York City on AI issues, along with the Institute for the Future. And their 10-year forecast predicts that in a decade, there will be more AI bots in existence than humans. There has been much talk about the cautions as well as the opportunities that AI provides, and many charities are a bit apprehensive about it in terms of its reliability and costs. So today, we want to address those concerns by talking about accessible AI as a first step in becoming engaged in a technology that will become even more significant in the month and years to come. So with that introduction, I turn to Ezra, who has some slides to help us get started on this subject.
So thank you, Bennett, for the introduction. And yeah, as Bennett mentioned, I think as a sector, we've realized, well, it looks like AI is here to stay in some shape or form that's still being defined. But a lot of us as organizations were thinking about, well, how can we use it? How should we use it? What can it do for us? You know, our advice is always to, start small, start simple, think of ways you can use it, think of problems you can solve. And we've been working with the folk at Zigment for over a year now, connected them with a few BBB accredited charities. And, they're building a tool for us too. And we've realized, their platform and their staff seem to work well with nonprofits. And they present AI in a way that's accessible. So we wanted to share that with you all as well. So what we're going to do today, we're going to talk a little bit about what AI can do for nonprofits. Zigment's going to share some concrete examples of the charities that they've been working with. And, you'll learn about potential AI tools that you could work with, as well as, a special discount for BBB accredited charities for using Zigment's platform. We hope to leave you with questions and frameworks that you can use to kind of think about AI with your staff, and then, potentially follow up with Zigment or us to start ideating on, how you might actually do that. So as Bennett mentioned, we're BBB Wise Giving Alliance. Our mission is to both serve donors, help them give wisely and confidently, as well as to help charities demonstrate their trustworthiness through meeting the 20 BBB standards, and we help charities improve their practices and policies through our evaluation process. We've dipped our toes into AI, as Bennett said, both kind of thematically thinking about what it means for the sector, but also in building a couple tools for ourselves. So, speaking along those lines, the way we think about AI kind of as an organization, but also in reference to our standards, is that, you always want to lead with values. Transparency, privacy, accountability. The most valuable thing that you have right now as a charity is your brand. In a world where there's going to be so many AIs out there, where people will be able to spin up nonprofits and buy a mailing list and spin up a marketing AI and get going, what's going to differentiate you? It's going to be your brand. It's going to be those relationships that you've built over time with your stakeholders, with the people you serve, with your donors. So you want to protect that, and you want to use tools in a way that protects your brand, but also expresses who you are. So we seek to help charities ask the right questions, determine how to best do that. We've started hosting a number of conversations, live conversations about AI. They're on our YouTube page. We welcome you to see those. And if there's any topics you want us to cover, please reach out. And yeah, we also recommend, start small and, test the tools carefully. Our AskGive product that we launched, we had it in beta mode for a year to get feedback from, the charity community, to get feedback from donors, to get feedback from regulators. Because again, we knew that if we put something out there that, completely missed the mark, we might betray the trust of all the charities that come to us and submit their information and work closely with us. So, some lessons there. And so why Zigment? Why are we collaborating with them now? Well, we know nonprofits need to start somewhere. This may be a good resource for you, but we know that most nonprofits are thinking about, what can we do? Where do we start? And there's often decision paralysis where you feel like, okay, we should do something, but you start imagining the biggest tool possible. And you don't see the steps between where you are now and there. One of the great things about Zigment is that they have a platform built, and they can, they're an enterprise grade platform where, they can put AI tools, help you build AI tools based on your content already and put it on there. So it's not like you're paying a vendor to build a custom AI for you. It's more like you're building a custom AI on Zigment's platform, which is probably a smaller lift for nonprofits. And, nonprofits, we're often not the most adept in terms of our technology. So having a vendor who can do that well for us tends to be helpful. And they, have a strong focus on safety, transparency, very close to our values around standards. And they've already, proven that they work well with the charitable sector. So maybe, Dikshant, you could share a little bit about what Zigment does, who you are as an organization, what sets you apart.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Ezra. And thank you, Bennett, for lovely introduction. Hi, everyone, and appreciate all of you being here. So yeah, what Zigment does, we are a conversational AI platform. We build agentic AI for organizations and nonprofits and some case for profit. But what we help is how do we enable AI to coexist within your processes, which could involve your existing software systems and also your people. So that's what we do. And in the simplest form, we build AI agents who help a very simple use case is that help your supporters, your volunteers, your donors with information that they are seeking in a very human human-like conversational way. In the earlier form, or the way we used to call was chatbots, which were probably a decade old construct. We now have agents, and they are different from chatbots, and I'll kind of elaborate a little more down the slides. But we build agents, AI agents, and I guess everybody's kind of now curious and aware of what agentic AI or AI does. So what basically Zigment helps you also with is automating a lot of routine tasks, and this could kind of include sending follow-ups, reminders, qualifying users, even interacting with the users live. They could be kind of coming on your website or social media. And the actions that you would need to take, based on, whatever they are seeking, right? So if it's a volunteer, you might want to kind of, provide them more information about, events and then kind of, the programs that you might have for volunteers. versus if they are donors, then kind of help them with more content and information that can help them make a more informed decision. So we do that. We automate a lot of these things. It's not 100% automation, and we kind of automate a bulk of these tasks where your staff is kind of then free to take up high value activities. We are not kind of seeing a world where it is without humans. The humans, we are just kind of progressing in a way where we as humans will kind of rise up further in terms of taking up higher value tasks, and they could kind of include much larger decisions. It could be negotiation, it could be kind of much higher value, and something that kind of is very fulfilling. So we can integrate with your existing systems, say your website, and then you have let's say a CRM, Salesforce, Microsoft, or even Blackboard, etc., or even Google Sheets. So we can kind of integrate with your existing stack or technology, and basically the agentic AI platform just inserts itself into your system. And that's the idea. We kind of believe that there should not be a rip and replace. It should kind of be more of an integrated approach. We should integrate with what organizations are currently using. We operate across, our AI agents operate across multiple channels. It could be your website, your social media handles like your Facebook, Instagram, text message, the way we have done for Wise Giving Alliance for their toll-free number. It could be WhatsApp, so any of the channels that kind of today exist, like for communication with your users, supporters, we are there. And what we believe, and something that Ezra mentioned, is that we are a platform, so it's not like we are going to build it from stack, but there is a lot of configurability in the platform, which we believe that there should be a tool that's kind of configured and built as close to your organization's needs as possible. So that's what that's a fundamental DNA of the system. Outside of all this, we are an enterprise grade system. So we are kind of, we have highest level of, data privacy and security. We are ISO 27001 compliant. We have SOC 2, certification, which is the highest grade, certification for, making sure the data and the kind of processes that we follow in technology are highest grade. And we have HIPAA and other, relevant compliances also in place. And our belief is that we want to kind of do it in the rightest way possible. So yeah, that's what's in the plans.
And we're wondering if you could talk us through maybe some examples of, because it's one thing to hear like we have AI tools that can do things for you. It's another thing to hear, okay, well, what can it do? What does it look like in practice? Maybe you could talk us through the work you did with Hope for Ukraine.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, and you're right. Of course, proof is in the pudding. So this is where it is. So we've started working with Hope for Ukraine, I think about 9 months ago, or a little more than that. And what started as a pilot is now a full-blown kind of a project that we're working with them, and things have been great. So particularly the challenge or the problem that we wanted to solve, or Hope for Ukraine wished to solve, was that there were times when there were high volumes of kind of leads that would come onto their website, which was kind of almost impossible for their staff to answer or respond to in time. And then in most cases, it would kind of, a lot of these queries kind of would remain unanswered. Also to say that they would get a lot of queries around things that they may not want to kind of, answer, openly. And then, for Hope for Ukraine, for example, they would get a lot of queries around military activity, and something that they did not want to kind of engage, but at the same time, they owed it to the user to kind of be responded and kind of, in as empathetic way as possible. So this was a great challenge, and I kind of think that because of this was such a specific problem, and then Yuri from Hope for Ukraine could articulate this problem that okay, this is what the problem is. Like we are getting leads and we are not able to kind of address them with our limited staff. And so we kind of started working with them on building the AI agent, which would be kind of trained on their data, their program, basically trained as a sales assistant or an assistant or a volunteer, which is working for Hope for Ukraine, the same way we kind of trained the AI agent. And the outcome was that, yeah, I mean, AI agent is successfully answering all the queries on Hope for Ukraine website. They could be around donation, they could be around different programs, they could be around questions, could be around authenticity, the transparency of the organization, etc. And the agent is answering everything. So you can kind of go and try the agent at Hope for Ukraine as well. So what we've been able to do is that we've been able to kind of take a bulk of this manual task away from the humans and kind of handle it via AI agent. Now AI agent, what it does is it does the pre-qualification and make sure that out of 100 users that come in, we distill that okay, these are the 10 users which are the most authentic queries and kind of requires a human assistance that AI agent is not able to handle. And that way we are freeing up the staff time from addressing the other 90, which could be kind of not a great utilization of time, but then focus their activity on the 10 who are kind of the most qualified for receiving the answer or response from the team. So we've done that. There is a significant saving of time. I would say that almost 80% kind of human efforts or the staff effort is kind of now saved, and that 80% of time you can imagine that they are able to kind of address a lot of higher level or a higher value questions or work within the organization. Now what has happened is that because the AI agent with the human staff is available during work hours, now we know that the queries or the responses could come any time of the day, any time of the night. And if it's a weekend, then it's usually like it would be at least 2.5 days by which the response would kind of go to the particular user, by which we know that either the context would have changed or the supporter whose interest might have been great at that time but could have moved on or maybe distracted. So by deploying an AI agent who's equivalent of kind of a level of a human agent or a human assistant, we've been able to kind of deploy and respond to all the queries 24/7. And what that does is that each of these supporters or the users that come to the website, they get responded in time, and that has a significant impact on their donation kind of conversions, right? So like now they're able, because you're able to kind of address and respond to a lot of genuine queries in time, you are seeing that there is a higher kind of conversion that happens. We again, as I said, like your staff time is now moved from doing the drudgery work or kind of a repetitive task that you kind of believe that should be done by somebody else. Now it's kind of handled by AI agent, and they are available for more direct support and then kind of work towards the program. So we've done. We are now, the current state is that the agent is now far more evolved. We have like in chat, data collection form also available, within that, and there is a lot of kind of other future work that's kind of planned for this particular agent as well. So that's for Hope for Ukraine. And when we post this call, we will also share some of the links with these things where you can kind of go and give it a try and maybe even make a donation, right? So, so Ezra, you want to move to the next one?
Yeah, and just to share, I was in on the conversations between Zigment and Yuri from Ukraine, kind of seeing it all develop, and it was interesting to see that, you take these questions, for example, how can I join the military in Ukraine, that have nothing to do with the organization's mission. And when you take that away from the staff, they don't have to spend their time on answering that. But then you can also try to pivot that interest into, oh, well, did you know that we support food programs in Ukraine? Did you know that we do this? And kind of move that donor or that intent towards the organization. And then, they've built it in such a way that eventually the AI does say, oh, would you consider supporting us? And then, puts the donation link directly in the chat, again, to capture that that interest and that intent in that moment, without the delay of, waiting 2 days to respond to an email, or, doing email back and forth, which has huge time lapses between them. Another example, I guess maybe you could talk about, Dikshan, is your work with the Association of Fundraising Professionals and AFP Global's AI.
Yeah, sure. I mean, before that, I would just kind of add to the previous, Hope for Ukraine example, that the agent, so far, we've kind of now seen the data. Agent has interacted in 18 different languages with different users from different countries. So yeah, I just want to add that. So yeah, for Association of Fundraising Professionals, AFP, we've kind of gone live recently, and I think I'll let my colleague Naveen kind of just elaborate on this project. Naveen, do you want to take this?
Yeah, sure, Dikshan. Thank you, everyone. Firstly, a big shout out to everyone who's joined in here, and truly humbled by the great work that the nonprofit sector is doing. So with that, for the AFP, what we've built is a two-pronged agent. One, AFP has a lot of, I'm assuming most of you might also be associated with AFP in some form or the other. They have members that they serve, and there is a lot of data and content that's available on the AFP site, which people find it difficult to go find it themselves. So we've put in an agent that is a know-all kind of agent who's trained on all content that is AFP. And the content also has that is publicly available, and that is behind a paywall where it is only for members. So we've created an agent which handles inquiries either from non-members that are browsing to be able to find them relevant articles, events, or what have you. Not only that, be able to say that, okay, if you're finding some content that is recommended and that's behind a member paywall, it does recommend people that, hey, would you want to become a member here and be able to get access to all the other content there as well. And those, for the members that come in, it identifies the member based on their login, being able to identify, okay, this is the user that's come in, greet them personally, and then say, hey, by the way, this is what you did. This is what your membership looks like. And if at all their membership is coming for an extension or renewal, it kind of understands that. And also not just the user towards renewing the memberships, to not just helping them with whatever content that they're looking, but also being able to direct the organization's goal towards, retaining those members and then helping them renew and stay with the organization, right? So apart from all of that, like what Dikshan and Ezra already mentioned, again, staff hours, how am I able to help the organization on post working hours, right? Or on the weekends. We've seen significant amount of that conversations that help users that come in from across the world, their members around the world, and being able to help them. So that's what we've done for AFP. I could also take you through the next one.
And just if I could add on the AFP, we hosted a live conversation. It's on YouTube with their CEO, Art Taylor, who was our former CEO. And he said one of the things he likes about it is because it tracks, the members and assigns, their ID to each conversation. One, it can give them, updates on their membership status. but he can also go in and say, oh, well, I'm going to be meeting with Naveen. He's a member of AFP. Let me look. And the AI will give him a summary of the type of queries, the type of conversations that that member has had, so that Art or his staff can address their needs and can say, oh, I saw that you were asking about, cryptocurrency donations. Did you know that we had this resource? Or let me, address those needs. And then two, it's also interesting because you can see what types of queries you're getting. You may, as an organization, think that your members and donors are asking you about A, B, and C, but then via the AI, you can see, oh, a lot of people are also asking about, D. And then you can create more programming or more content around that, to help identify kind of your stakeholders' needs in real time.
Yeah, thank you for that. What we've done for the Wise Giving Alliance themselves is the product is almost there, waiting for you guys to take it live whenever it's ready. It's a 1-800 or the toll-free bot on the text. So people can reach out to the Wise Giving Alliance in a totally different channel. So the idea is, when we talked about making it accessible, so we're taking it accessible and availability both in this one, which is kind of helping the users. It could be the agent is built to address queries from all kind of users, irrespective whether they are donors or charities themselves, nonprofits, to a commoner using a charity and wanting to talk about it, or to identify the causes that some donor wants to donate with, right? So it could be various of this, all built in within the text interface, where people can message the agent on a toll-free number and able to receive all of this information. And when this happens, again, like what Ezra mentioned, giving an opportunity for the Wise Giving Alliance to know who the new users are, where are they coming from, what kind of needs do they have, and how does the Wise Giving Alliance cater to those needs. There is AskGive that's already there on the website, which is a great initiative. And what we've built is to complement the whole of this efforts in terms of providing a totally different channel.
And to the points that Naveen made, one of the things AI does really well is it translates information into conversational format. So, before, when we originally started years ago, we only had a magazine that had advice articles and then a listing of the charities and accreditation status. Later that moved onto the web as charity reports. But one of the things that we'd been thinking about is, as new generations of donors come, we want to meet them, based on how they think about charitable giving. And one thing we've noticed as a sector is that younger generations think more in terms of causes than institutions. And that's difficult because if a donor doesn't know the name of a particular charity, in the past they couldn't find a charity that works on the particular cause they care about. So let's say somebody cared about helping cats or dogs or animals in Africa. Unless they knew the name of an organization, they wouldn't be able to find a trusted charity that works on that. So now via the chatbot, people will be able to go in and say, hey, tell me about some animal organizations that work in Africa. And they'll be able to get the names of the organization. So based on the cause, they'll then be able to get into the names and the institutions and then be able to build those relationships. So it's kind of changing the way that we're able to reach people, and reaching people kind of with the language, with the kind of culture that they have now. So it's helped us translate, these charity reports, this great data we have, into a format that's more accessible.
Yeah.
So we were also wondering, Naveen, if you could share a little bit of like what it looks like in practice, what the tools do, what the experience is like when you're using the AI tool.
Yeah, since we've already talked about Hope for Ukraine, what I want to do is we've replicated this agent into a demo account just to give you an idea as to what the real agent feels like, looks like. So I'm going to take you through our dashboard, kind of walk you through what happens behind the scene. Fraser, I'm going to share my screen now.
Maybe.
Let me know when you're able to see my screen. This is the view of our dashboard. Basically, kind of tells you all the conversations that are happening on, on your website. If it's like if you put in a web chatbot there, or it's on text or what have you, we can figure out from what source are these conversations coming from. It identifies who the users are and identifies based on the conversation that is happening. It kind of creates tags automatically based on the intent of the conversation that happens. And we also kind of know that how many messages were exchanged and stuff like that. As you also see that all of these, the PII has been obscured here, not available for anyone to see. It can be made available to the administrators of the organization to see who it was and what, when you share this with your team members within the organization as well. So this is as I said, I've taken a demo chat here, just to give you a quick one. So this is the conversation that you see at the back end. When, as I said, I've taken the Hope for Ukraine chat that we've built and created a replica of it. And I'm just chatting with the agent here saying that, hey, I'm concerned with the situation that's happening out there. The agent is built for empathy and compassion. So it understands the tone that you're talking about and tries to understand your mission, and then trying to address this in response to the user's inquiry here, right? And then says that, would you want to know more about our program? And then I kind of say that, hey, there are certain clothes that we want to do for donation. Would that be something that you could handle? And the agent is absolutely able to take up from there and then says that this is where you could send in your packages. Again, all of this information is built based on an organization's requirement. And when I say yes, if you can provide more information on what the process involves, it does tell what kind of products, what kind of goods, the condition of the thing that should be, and how they should be able to send all of that information. And then it also tries to capture who the user is. So we are able to send this form within the chat window, so that when the user inputs their information, it sends out an automated email to whichever within the organization. So we can make sure that this information goes into your organization CRM, or it could be an email that happens. So agent can take those actions based on whatever is provided based on the intent of the conversation. And then it does try to bring the user more towards their social and what are all the things that are happening, and try and drive them to become a member and support their cause. So just an example, as you see that out here, I've come in for donation as my intent. When you saw in the conversation, that's been captured within the data. So you would have none different of these. And when conversations are happening in another language, it's identified different languages that happens. So as Dikshant said earlier, the Hope for Ukraine, it supported more than 18 languages until now. People from around the world being able to chat with the agent in their language, and agent responding to them accordingly. Anything else, Dikshant, you wanted to add here? Or I'm not sure how much time we have, Ezra.
Yeah, go ahead, Dikshant.
Yeah, this is fine. I think, I guess, yeah, this is the main screen. And then there's a dashboard of all the activities. We can kind of just show the reporting part. Yeah. So I mean, this is all custom built usually. This is all customizable based on how what the kind of data comes in. Yeah. that's about it. So, I mean, it basically has all the information of what time, where, how the agent has responded, etc. Yeah, can move on. Yeah, we can move back to the slides. Can unshare.
Right. So, generally when you're thinking about engaging in an AI project, we have some recommendations, some considerations. It's usually best not to, build the moonshot right away. Yeah. One of the things we hear from nonprofits, from charities is like, well, we don't know where to start. We're overwhelmed. I think the biggest step, is getting from 0 to 1, right? So you start small, and when you start small, you learn along the way, and then you can improve. For example, Hope for Ukraine, they started again, with the chat agent on their website, and then they realized, oh, we can actually use this to get people to fill out our forms, to be part of our newsletter, so that we can follow up with them. Oh, we can build in the donation directly into the flow. But they started again small and simple. Start safe, define your guardrails as an organization, build in human review, is your tool being tested before release, but then after release too? Is somebody checking those dashboards to see if the tool is still kind of following the guidelines that you set for it? And, obviously your data protections, is the organization you're working with to build your AI tool, is it, compliant with data protection, general guidelines? Where are they storing your data? Are they using it to train other models? And then, start where there's actually a problem that can be solved, where your staff is feeling pain, because your staff are the most valuable parts of your organization, right? So you want to give them as much time and space to do the work that they're best at. So if there's any sort of tasks that can be automated, inbox overloads, repetitive questions about, joining the military in Ukraine, if there's something that you can take off their plate, that can be great. And then, as we mentioned in the email and at the beginning of this presentation, Zigment has collaborated with us on providing a special discount to BBB accredited charities. And, we'll have Zigment talk about it in a second. But as part of that, we're happy to join an initial discovery call if you are at a BBB accredited charity. If you wanted to, grab 30 minutes, talk with Zigment, and, you're welcome to include us in that conversation to help you ideate, to think about how you can solve problems at your organization, and to help you think through kind of the accountability and transparency, parts of it as well. And in the name of transparency, we will receive a modest revenue share when BBB accredited charities by WGA sign up. Obviously, there's no extra cost to that to you as a charity. There's actually a discount, but we always want to be transparent. And then team Dikshan or Naveen, would you talk a little bit about kind of what packages look like? I know it varies so much from project to project, organization to organization, but maybe some kind of general thoughts.
Yeah, sure. Now the pricing is kind of slightly to provide, but I'll kind of try and give ranges or some structure so that everyone has some idea about what we can mean. So purely from the web, what are the kind of different models or deployments that one can have, as we've kind of spoken about this. There could be a web chat agent. We could kind of have an explainer, assistant who's kind of helping volunteers and everybody get the kind of guidance. It could be various kind of a journey tools where could result in follow-ups, kind of nudges, reminders, etc. Right? So if there's an appointment, let's say an appointment was booked, then there is appointment follow-ups and making sure the reminders are sent. So all that can be automated with AI agents. So to give a range, I would say generally we start at about a couple of $100 to let's say $500 for a smaller scale kind of a setup. That could mean, if you are a small organization with kind of a limited data set, and the activity basically involves having one agent, which is like on your website, which is interacting, engaging with the users, and kind of primarily providing information, basically. So slightly larger or the medium scale would be, where the AI agent has to integrate with your, one or, a few of your systems. It could kind of, be your CRM. It could be some different kind of, softwares in the organization. Also where the data is slightly large, larger than the smaller scale, could mean, different kinds of programs and different kind of events that you have. And the AI agent is kind of, acting as, somebody who's pursuing, the donors, also providing information to volunteers, etc. This could kind of range anywhere from between $500 to kind of, $1,400 a month. Above that is kind of our enterprise plan, which is where you are a large organization with multiple, I would say, sub-organizations within, let's say you have different chapters, etc., and have very large volume of data, that is required to kind of the agent to be trained on, and there would be a multiple agents involved. So now this is our pricing, and we understand that today AI agent is kind of becoming commodity. I've seen like even $20 kind of AI agent deployments. So our purpose has been that we build enterprise grade systems and want to make sure that we uphold the WGA's kind of philosophy and policies around this. Hold the sanctity of the data that is there. Even our own practices that we kind of perform, engage in, right? So as Naveen was showing you the screen, even Naveen could not see the email addresses and stuff which are there in the demo account, because that demo account, probably the admin is, maybe somebody else in our organization. So similarly, we follow all this, and then kind of there is a cost. Also, to give another yardstick of the same pricing is that for a very similar deployments of ours in the for-profit kind of a world, commercial deployments, they usually kind of get into like, at least like $1,000 a month. So we do not have any deployments which are lesser than $1,000 a month. So this is our way of kind of providing or kind of working with WGA and kind of making sure our way of giving to the great work that you guys are already doing.
And we thank you for that, helping the charitable sector out. And, specifically for BBB accredited charities, Sean and Naveen shared that, they're offering a 20% discount on, their products. And again, it sounds like it varies so much by organization and use case. So that would likely be something that would come up in the, the initial conversations, kind of scoping what things would look like. So yeah, if you want to explore further, we encourage you. We'll follow up, after this with an email to grab, a 30-minute conversation with, your team, with Zigment. And if you're a BBB accredited charity, would be happy to join that conversation. We encourage you to use that to clarify your goals, figure out what kind of problems that the AI could solve for you, identify realistic use cases, talk through, how the data is handled, how the tool is trustworthy, and, also figure out what that means, what the needs are from your organization. The nice thing about Zigment's tool is that, they've already done all the coding and whatnot. It's more about identifying where your data is that can, feed the AI. And again, these are no commitment conversations. So yeah, we encourage you to, watch the recording. We'll again send this out afterwards, share it with your colleagues to start ideating, to think about, where AI could help your organization. And again, start small, very small, specific pain points. We'll send out a form to, do those follow-up conversations, and then stay tuned for additional resources on AI. Like I said, we're holding live conversations. We are going to be publishing the videos from the summit that we held in March that Bennett mentioned. So keep an eye out for those. And I guess now we'll turn it over to you, see if you have any questions. Let me stop my screen share.
Thank you, Rajat. Yeah, please ask us questions, ask hard questions, so that helps us kind of, make the overall system better. We did have some questions from Leo. I think, I don't know if he's still around, comments. So I'll read out the first one. So, and maybe it's recorded, so I think he will get the answer when he sees the recording. So his first question on the comment is on the support, not replace human relationship. Could you give a practical example? Would working simultaneously in a group with an AI tool be a good way to do this as opposed to individual use of the tool? Yeah, I mean, I don't get the question, but I think from what I get, I guess, yeah, I mean, we do believe in coexistence. It is going to be, there is not going to be an AI agent who's going to kind of, going to be operating in a silo. It is going to be like there is going to be a human element before it kind of hands over to the AI agent, and then there is going to be AI agent hands it over back to either the same human or kind of somebody else in the organization. So it's going to be a relay, it's going to be an orchestration of the entire flow, and we are defining what are the tasks that could be performed by AI, which allows kind of humans to kind of do other things kind of and put a better effort or better time on the other more valuable things.
Yeah, I would say think about how AI can augment the work that you're doing, because again, your staff has the knowledge of your mission, what you do, why you do it, the relationships. So think about how can you free up their time to do more of what only a human can do. Are there any tasks that you can take care of with AI?
Yes. We also have like a second question from Leo, which was, does where the data used by the AI tool is stored matter? So yeah, I think in general case, I kind of think that all the data that we train on is usually kind of used for training, and we have our own data repository where it kind of is trained. In some cases where there is a high value data, that could kind of, we could figure out a way that resides on your system, and our AI agent basically accesses it on need basis. Just to add to this, because we are a premium partner with the LLM providers, which is OpenAI, a ChatGPT, we are also with them on a zero retention policy. So which basically means that they do not retain any of the data that we engage them with. So all our organizations and parties that we work with, none of the data is kind of stored with OpenAI. So it's only transactional, and we kind of use it, and that gets done.
Mm-hmm. As you're thinking of questions, I put a poll out there to see how you're using AI in your organization. Just curious. Go ahead, Ben. Sorry.
The other thing I wanted to say was, I think these days we keep hearing about the importance of engagement on the organization's website beyond making just a donation. And these various AI opportunities are providing that to organizations so that you'll get interaction. And, some people would rather ask a bot, a question about the organization or something want to know rather than searching on the website to find the answer. So that type of engagement really is a positive thing if you can get it going right, to get people not only to become more informed, but to do it in a way that they will more likely seek, the answers.
That's right. And that's a valid point, Bennett. I think with the ChatGPT, that usage and the behavior is changing, and more users are kind of resorting or will resort to kind of having a more open-ended conversations with the websites, with apps, and with the social media everywhere.
And let's see, just ended the poll. It looks like, so the question was, what best describes your organization's current AI use? 13% said we don't use AI at all. 50% said individual staff use tools like ChatGPT on their own. 13% said we have some internal AI experiments or pilots. And then 25% said we have at least one AI tool live in production.
The other thing I'll add is that if the AI tool that you develop, if for any reason it collects any personal information from the respondents, in those cases, you may want to review your privacy policy that's on your website to make sure it captures those points so that people are aware about how the information is to be used and their ability to perhaps opt out if they don't want it to be used that way. But that's something else to consider.
And then, please chime in if anybody has a question. But I wanted to ask the group too is, does anybody see a task or a pain point or a problem at their nonprofit, at their charity that might be addressed by AI? Is there any sort of thing that's been nagging your staff that you think might be able to be automated? Let's see, Gina shared. Let me look. We ask for reference checks on our application. How can we do that automatically?
Interesting. Gina, what kind of reference checks are these? Okay. Yeah, I think again, we can there are a number of ways to we can do that. One is that, let's say, if we had the process was fairly, I would say, streamlined or predictable, then in that case, the users would come in, you could interact, the AI agent can interact, ask for the information, and if they're at the point of reference checks, we can send out an email. The AI agent can send out an email to the reference referred parties, and then based on what information that we get from those emails, basis that we can arrive at it. I think there should be a way, or there is a way to do this.
Yeah, it sounds like if the application ended up, in the database with the reference emails, you can send the email and then track that email, gather the response, put it back inside the database, and maybe even qualify it as like a positive or negative response.
That's right. Yeah.
And the other thought I wanted to add is that even before you do the beta testing publicly, internally, you may want to have your own staff ask questions and try to stump the AI, so to speak, by asking difficult questions on the subject to see how it works, because that could be a good way of trying to prepare your system for whatever might happen, and then make it publicly available in a beta so to get some interaction. But you may want to start something internally first.
And kind of similar to Bennett's point, I think it's neat that we're now at a point with AI where there are these, enterprise grade tools where I think a little while back, the people who designed the AIs in your organization would have had to been the technical people who might not have had all of the program knowledge or all of the relationships knowledge. So the resultant AI could have ended up being more of a technical tool or gotten the tone wrong or, not known, about your organization's culture as much, if it was designed just by technical people. Now it's at a point where, your program staff or your leadership can say, hey, we have this problem, we want to solve it. Similar, to the question we just got, how can we do it? And then talk, to a team like Zigment, and they can take care of all of the technical side, all the technical language, but just, communicate to you based on like outcomes. Yes, we could do this. This is what would happen.
That's right. Yes.
So before we close out, I wanted to thank again our guests, Dikshant Dave and Naveen Picardo, for joining us for the great overview, and Ezra, of course, for your good walkthrough on what we were trying to do here. If you have follow-up questions, you can contact us and we'd be happy to help, and also have more detailed discussions as promised by Ezra that are available. So we really appreciate you joining the webinar. And Ezra, do you have any closing comments before we adjourn?
No, just like I said, I think we've all realized AI is here to stay. So start thinking about, well, given that, what can we do with it? It's a tool. How can we use this tool to further our mission? And if that means, taking some tasks off your staff's plate so that they can do more of that relationship building, more of the meat of like what you do, lean into it. It can be a great tool to kind of amplify your reach. And then two, look out for our follow-up email with this recording and more info. Dikshan, any final words?
No, thank you. I think we looking forward to kind of more AI utilization in the nonprofit world, and I think we are here to help. And I guess you guys at WGA are doing great work, kind of as the conduit in the community. And I really appreciate every help and doing this.
Okay,
Thanks.
take care, everybody.
Yeah,
Thanks, everyone.
thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.